ipet Goat 2 is a captivating animated short film that has puzzled viewers since its release over a decade ago. Through rich symbolism and intricate animation, the video touches on various themes, including politics, spirituality, and societal dynamics. Despite its enigmatic nature, after years of speculation, a comprehensive explanation will finally unravel the mysteries within this thought-provoking piece. Despite the intricacies and complexities embedded in its content, viewers will be surprised to discover that ipet Goat 2 ultimately boils down to two fundamental elements: a specific date and a location. Remarkably, these elements align with the date and location of the greatest disaster in human history, a future catastrophic event that will alter the course of everything as we know it. Dividing this journey into three parts corresponding to the different scenes of ipet Goat 2 will help structure the unraveling of its mysteries. We'll start with the goat scene, move on to the classroom scene, and finally, explore the solar bark journey. Strap in for an insightful journey into the symbolism and meaning behind each captivating segment of the video. Let's dive right into the first part of this enigmatic video. So, we open in what seems like a military zone with bankers present. Notice the lights turning on, indicating nightfall. Remember this, it's a very important clue. In the background, two factory smoke towers suggest an industrial or oil refinery setting. Snow accumulation hints at the geographic location and climate. But watch closely, what falls isn't snow, it's more like nuclear fallout. Keep an eye on the officer with an arm and a dog. Suddenly, a flashlight targets one of the bankers, revealing a goat. Before we proceed, let's address the mystery around the title. It's not the pet goat, the book read by President Bush on September 11th, but rather ipet Goat. This phrase initially seems puzzling, but stick around for the surprising meaning later. Back to the scene, the goat begins rolling its head, and dice are thrown, resembling the gambling game casino craps. The come-out roll shows 11, a win, as the dice colors shows 5 and 6. The dice reveal the meaning of ipet Goat. As the dice land on pictures, revealing the meaning, it becomes clear, the pet isn't the goat, it's the dog. The I stands for law enforcement personnel doing the actions, and the goat symbolizes the greatest of all time. Law enforcement often uses flashlights and investigative dogs to detect explosives. The dog barking signifies a find. So, what does ipet Goat mean? It signifies the discovery or the revealing of the greatest of all time's explosive or weapon. The dice display numbers 11 at the beginning and 9 at the end, representing the date 9/11. Surprisingly, not the US ace 9/11, but rather November 9th elsewhere in the world. The classroom scene. Alright, let's dissect the cryptic symbols and clues woven into the classroom scene of ipet Goat 2. This scene mirrors the 9/11 event in the classroom with President Bush, signifying the date, but intriguingly, not the USA 9/11, rather the global 9/11, November 9th. Let's start with the wall of the classroom. The chalkboard serves as a gateway to the third part, adorned with Egyptian myths and underworld symbolism. Egyptian mythology's significance shines through as we explore the details. The hearts, seemingly flying and varying in size, symbolize the weighing against the feather of the goddess Ma'at, representing entry into the underworld, hinting at the night in the video. The missing phallus, represented, was supposedly eaten by a fish, depicted as a piranha in the video. Delving into the details, the weighing of hearts and the assembly of Osiris's body parts, alongside the depiction of the phallus with the fish, allude significantly to the concept of the underworld or the night within the context of the video. Delving into the details, the weighing of hearts and the assembly of Osiris's body parts, alongside the depiction of the phallus with the fish, allude significantly to the concept of the underworld or the night within the context of the video. Recall the initial scene with the goat and the lights turning on. This signifies the onset of night at the location, emphasizing the night's importance within ipet Goat 2. Now moving to the top of the chalkboard, while it showcases the iconic picture of human evolution, it's not about biological evolution, but rather the evolution of weaponry. The images depict the progression from primitive tools to a stick, a spear, and a gun, culminating in a human observing a distant explosion, a clear representation of the evolution of destructive weapons. The inclusion of the famous doomsday clock, precisely pointing to midnight, further reinforces the theme of an impending nuclear disaster. Both the weaponry evolution and the doomsday clock converge to underscore the type of catastrophic event, highlighting a nuclear disaster. A pivotal element to note here is President Bush's gestures, notably pointing up to the picture of weapon evolution, referencing the infamous weapons of mass destruction controversy he's associated with. His actions, such as saying "fool me once," pointing fingers, and displaying disappointment, allude to the controversy surrounding the existence of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, leading to the Iraq War. Let's move back to the beginning of the scene. The scene begins with President Bush dancing, illuminated by lights, symbolizing the final days of the election race speeding toward Election Day, hence the tap dancing. Typically occurring between the 2nd and 8th of November each year. In essence, the scene encapsulates the timing of November and hints at the impending disaster. Just before Election Day, a peculiar movement emerges, President Bush turning his head in full circles, resisting it, evident in the ticking sound that represents the anti-clockwise turning of clocks, akin to the reversal of time during daylight saving in November. Transitioning from Bush to Obama signifies the election outcome, usually in early November. The colored USA map further hints at election results and the significance of November. Let's leave the dating specifics for later analysis. Returning to the trio of posters discreetly placed at the base of the chalkboard, these visuals intricately hint at the mechanism behind a nuclear weapon. Each poster silently whispers a vital clue, akin to a visual roadmap of the bomb's functioning. The first poster, showcasing a heart divided into two parts, mirrors the human circulatory system's duality, pulmonary and systemic. This depiction cleverly encapsulates a singular entity with dual functionalities, foreshadowing a theme of unity in duality. Moving to the second poster, we encounter the portrayal of two interconnected components facing a forceful separation. It's akin to the act of splitting connected entities, indicating a profound divergence with a powerful external force. Lastly, the third poster featuring Newton's third law of motion, a depiction of two objects moving away from each other following an action. Here, it symbolizes the separation and divergence of the two earlier connected components, illustrating a fundamental principle of movement and reaction. In essence, these posters succinctly encapsulate the essence of a nuclear bomb's functionality, a representation of split entities, forced separation, and subsequent divergence, akin to the underlying mechanism of a nuclear reaction. Shifting our focus to the right side of the chalkboard, we encounter a peculiar arrangement, a list of 44 alphabets resembling a classroom calendar. Unmistakably, this sequence holds a significant clue camouflaged within its alphabetical guise. Here's the revelation: the 44th week of the year marks the commencement of November, aligning eerily with the beginning of the sequence. It's akin to a subtle countdown embedded within the seemingly innocuous array of letters. This clandestine nod to the start of November amplifies the video's intricate attention to detail, crafting a cryptic timeline cleverly intertwined with the sequence of alphabets. By elucidating the correlation between the sequence of alphabets and the commencement of November, the script aims to elucidate the meticulous detail woven into the video's cryptic elements. The deliberate depiction of the letters seemingly weakly attached to the wall in ipet Go 2 is a clever visual representation. By subtly arranging the letters in a way that suggests they're not firmly affixed, ZZ almost falling, it creates a visual play on the word weeks. The intentional placement of these letters to create a resemblance to the word weeks showcases the meticulous attention to detail in the video, adding to its intricate and thought-provoking symbolism. At the end of the classroom scene, we witness an apple hitting Obama's foot, causing him to gaze at it with intense anxiety. This apple serves as a symbolic representation of the impending event. It symbolizes the two stages of the thermonuclear weapon. Initially, the apple splitting and the dispersal of its seeds signify the first stage, fission, akin to the splitting of a nucleus. The subsequent stage, fusion, is symbolized by the seeds or nucleus reuniting, creating a blooming lotus flower. Just as sunlight triggers the blooming of a lotus, similarly, the sun's energy, derived from nuclear fusion, is evoked here. This process generates immense energy in the form of heat and light. Before we plunge into the deeper aspects of ipet Go 2, we need to unveil the location pivotal to all the clues within the video so far, the place that encapsulates the bankers, military zones, oil refineries, the onset of night, snow accumulation, the fallout, the significant date 9/11, the 666 barcodes, and more. Trust me, every clue screams this is the exact location depicted in ipet Go 2. And if you're still unsure, stay tuned. By the end of this video, you'll be utterly convinced. Let's spotlight this crucial location, Novaya Zemlya in Russia. It's a nuclear test site with uncanny resemblances to elements in the video. Situated in the Arctic, hence the lines and the 666. The Arctic Circle longitudinal coordinate. It experiences year-round snow accumulation. Proximity to the West Siberian Petroleum Basin, the world's largest hydrocarbon basin, adds weight to its significance. Plus, the long Arctic night aligns precisely with 9/11 or November 9th every year. This area comprises 3 zones, A, B, and C, with the Matakin Strait serving as a notable feature, a detail that becomes pivotal later on. To recap, all these intricate clues zero in on this location, pinpointing November 9th as a significant date. Right after the portrayal of Obama witnessing the event in the classroom scene, the video swiftly shifts to this event's location. During this transition, observe the symbolic imagery: a torn USA flag with a detached star, signifying Alaska, and the representation of the collapsing towers, symbolizing the 9/11 date. The visual narrative moves from Alaska's land to the sea, passing small islands along the way, ultimately reaching a strait. This route mirrors the Northern Sea route, and that very strait? It's none other than the Matakin Strait itself. The solar bark journey in the context of ipet Goat 2 encapsulates the symbolic voyage of the god Ra through the underworld, representing the onset of the night at the strait in Novaya Zemlya on November 9th. The subsequent scenes unfold as a visual narrative mapping out the location, directing attention towards the south, north, and an explicit map of the depicted area. Each scene serves as a visual cue, providing insights into the geographical aspects and crucial elements embedded within the location portrayed in the video. The scenes portrayed depict a sequence reminiscent of the 9/11 terrorist attack. The initial scene depicting bin Laden guiding the attack towards New York, followed by the representation of New York through the Statue of Liberty, indeed parallels the tragic events of 9/11. However, the video presents an alternate narrative, suggesting that bin Laden's intended destination wasn't the USA, but rather a Russian territory. This interpretation posits that bin Laden, historically associated with the 9/11 attacks against the USA, was directed by the CIA to target Russia. The subsequent scene depicting a peculiar cloud formation surrounding bin Laden, resembling the eye of a cyclone, is intriguing. This imagery correlates with a reference to a CIA operation named Cyclone, adding another layer of complexity and potential interpretation to the narrative depicted in the video. The subsequent scene in the video shifts focus to the southern part of the location, offering a view of the shoreline bordering the prominent oil and gas basin in northern Russia. This specific region is renowned for its notorious pollution issues and the frequent leaks that contaminate the Arctic waters. The climax of this visual journey brings us to the heart of the location, symbolized by the Statue of Liberty, a poignant representation of where the historic 9/11 incident unfolded. This iconic figure serves as a metaphorical depiction of Novaya Zemlya, reflecting a striking resemblance to the surrounding land, shores, and islands showcased within the video's narrative. The visual parallels are remarkably precise, aligning with the imagery portrayed in the video. After pinpointing the location, the event unfolds with a star lighting up and a dark curtain closing the sky, a clear representation of a nuclear explosion. The blast is symbolized by the star lighting up, while the smoke blocking the sunlight is represented by the curtain closing. This visual portrayal of the explosion and the smoke darkening the location sets the stage for the transition to the mythical side. It demonstrates darkness encircling the location, symbolized by ipet, the serpent. Ra is depicted by the cosmic egg and the subsequent hatching. In Egyptian mythology, ipet, the serpent, would hypnotize Ra to gain control and defeat him. This power is symbolically portrayed in the ipet goat video through the TV screen. The TV, known as a powerful tool to hypnotize and control the masses, echoes this ancient mythological concept. This scene symbolizes the battle between Ra and ipet, light and darkness, day and night. In this context, it represents the nightfall in Novaya Zemlya starting on November 9th. Delving into further scenes, let's pause to summarize what we've covered. At this point in the video, it's evident that we're discussing a specific location, detailing its characteristics, coordinates, climate, surroundings, and the date of a significant event, the onset of a long night in this place, signaling a nuclear Armageddon. All the information presented converges to paint this comprehensive picture. In terms of characters, the goat symbolizes the acronym the greatest of all time, while the figure resembling Jesus on the boat represents the sun's journey or, in Egyptian mythology, echoes the journey of the god Ra through the underworld, signifying the prolonged Arctic night commencing on November 9th and traveling southward to reach the Arctic Circle by the winter solstice on December 21st. This narrative intertwines with the Jesus figure, stirring debate regarding Christmas and the winter solstice. While there are numerous other details I haven't addressed, each will be revisited in upcoming videos. These forthcoming segments will unravel the significance of each scene and character. Stay tuned for more.